last night you were to write the steps to follow for bottoms up. And most everybody at least tried the steps, but some of you were more detailed than others. And basically what I wanted to do is, like, if I took your sheet and handed it to a 7th grader or 8th grader, a 9th grader that didn't know about it, just somebody, they could follow your steps with any problem. And so we're going to be working. The main reason for using bottoms up is when you have a lead coefficient that's larger than 1, which means you're having to then factor it, and you're trying to come up with factors for the last number and then make those come together to create the binomial. All right, so when you have a lead coefficient that's 1, you won't use it because there's nothing to multiply. Because the first step is taking the lead coefficient and multiplying it by your constant, the c, and then having a new trinomial to work with. We will, toward the bottom of this sheet, have that opportunity. But notice on this sheet, which I'm going to give you in just a second, it says solve by factoring. So we're going to have a solution set, not just binomials, not just 2 sets of binomials. So, what number do we have in our realm of numbers that doesn't mean, it doesn't have any value? 0. So what we're going to do, and also it's kind of neat that when you are graphing, your starting point is 0. The 0, 0. We're going to begin anything. And so what we're going to do is take these problems that we have. I think Hutch, if you have an extra, if you'll put it on my desk. I can't count and talk sometimes at the same time. So we're going to take these problems and put them into a trinomial, or at least have it where all the numbers that are involved are on one side of the equal mark, and the other, which means then we'll have nothing on the other side. In essence, we have 0. And do you remember how to write numbers or trinomials in standard form? Do you remember that? AX plus BY equals C, but that means you're going to have the first one, what it really is in descending order according to the variables. So you want your largest your largest exponent in descending order according to your exponents. So you want your largest exponent to be first. Most of the ones we're going to work with are going to be quadratic equations, which means they have an x squared. So you always want that first. The other part about this is your lead coefficient needs to be positive. That's kind of like the driving force behind it all. The lead coefficient has to be positive. So if we're working on a problem up here and your lead coefficient, which means it's the number in front of the x squared or the variable squared, is negative, we need to move it to the other side of the equation. So everything centers around keeping that lead coefficient positive. So let's look at the first problem. You arrived just in time. So we have b squared equals negative 6b minus 5. So what we're going to do is we need it to be equal to 0. In other words, all of the parts are on the same side of the equal mark. So, and we have to have the lead coefficient, our b squared, positive. So instead of moving one number over, we're going to move the other 2 numbers to the left so that they line up behind the b squared. What happens to their signs? They will change. So we're going to have, my markup. It's not going to let me write for some reason.